just be careful because this might become your favorite park. It really just is a beautiful place, and it is a best kept secret.
Imagine a place where stress fades, fresh air fills your lungs, and adventure awaits around every corner. Welcome to Think Outside, the podcast that inspires you to explore, connect, and embrace the outdoors. Welcome to Think Outside with the Pennsylvania Parks and Forest Foundation. I'm your host, Marci Mowery, and today we're going to dive into one of Pennsylvania's outdoor treasures, R.B. Winter State Park. Joining us today is Mike Crowley, the manager for R.B. Winter State Park and several of the surrounding parks. With Mike's knowledge of the park's history, the ecology, and the day-to-day operations, I'm sure he'll give us a great insider scoop to the park that's just right in your backyard. So whether you're a seasoned hiker, a curious camper, or just someone who loves nature, this episode is for you. So Mike, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I've been here now for a couple of days, and R.B. Winter is such a treasured place that I'm surprised how many people come up and say, I've been here, I come here every year. I come here every year. Can you tell us a little bit about R.B. Winter State Park and what makes it so special?
Sure. It definitely is a unique park. It's not one of those destination parks that has like a signature feature, but it just has a bunch of little things that just really do make it a beautiful place and a favorite place for a lot of people. It is kind of unique because it is in the middle of bald eagle forest. So it is kind of like a best kept treasure secret. So I lived half hour away from here for almost 10 years and never heard of this place. So there's just a lot of stuff that's going on here and a lot of history. So I guess it all started back in 1933 with the CCC boys, and they came out and started to build the dam and other things and plant trees because pretty much all the trees had been cut down for their tannins or lumber, and those that didn't get cut down were forest fires, and erosion really took a toll on the land. So the CCC came in, they planted trees and really changed the landscape to what it is today.
Before I came over to have this conversation with you, I was reading this booklet that you put out halfway to winter and read that the dam here was the first stone and concrete dam of its kind in Pennsylvania.
Right. So I think that the CCC might have built other dams before this one in Pennsylvania, but this was the first project for the dams in Pennsylvania. So it does hold that distinction. And it's really neat when you look at some of the cut stone that is in this park and just a lot of the craftsmanship that went on that is really like a lost art form because you don't buy cut stone anymore. You buy the veneers that are fake stones, but all this stuff is for real.
That is a true craftsmanship and a skill that has been lost. I think one of the reasons it's a treasure, a best kept secret, as you said, is people know it by different names. You talk to somebody about you're going up to R.B. Winter and they say, oh, Halfway Dam.
Right.
So how did it get that name and when did it change to R.B. Winter? And it's halfway to what?
So the folklore is that it's halfway between Center Hall and Lewisburg. And then you have the 12-mile Narrows, which is the mileage between Forest Hill, which is the start of Bald Eagle Forest, and it goes through the forest and then ends in Livonia, which is the other end of the forest. So it was that area that links the two valleys together. So we were halfway point. And then when state parks became a concept and became a viable bureau, they created, it was Halfway Dam State Park. So, and then I think in 1965, to commemorate or to give thanks to Raymond B. Winter, the forester that was here starting in probably the mid-20s, I believe, but he was instrumental in working with the CCC and really brought this park about. They renamed it R.B. Winter State Park in 1965. But to this day, if I'm in town and I say, oh, yeah, I work at RB Winter, and they're like, what's that? It's like, oh, I'm sorry, Halfway Dam. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and that's
my favorite park.
Yeah, 60 years ago,
Right.
The name changed.
So I have people come up to me at the beach and say, hey, where's Halfway Dam? It's like, you're in the middle of it.
So you mentioned a beach. What other things can a visitor find here at the park?
Well, we have our lake, or some people call it a pond. It's 7 acres. So that does have, it's very cold, mostly fed by 2 small streams and artesian springs as well.
Ooh,
Memorial Day was last weekend and it was 45 degrees. So a little chilly.
Many swimmers?
No, because it was a cold weekend. So I always say that if you see adults in that water, you know it's hot. The air temperature is hot. But we do have a lot going on where RB Winter is just under 700 acres, again, surrounded by the 200,000 acres of bald eagle forest. So it really is just like a fingerprint as far as the forest goes. But we do have a lot of stuff going on here. We have the lake, as I said. We have 61 site campground, 2 pavilions, a lot of picnic areas. We are the trailhead for the trails of bald eagle forest, as well as our own trails. But we have hiking, biking, snowmobiling, equestrian use. So there really is a lot of stuff going on here.
Your Rapid Run Nature Trail, I think, is just a lovely walk and an easy walk for people. Was it a mile in length?
It's a mile in length, and it is almost virgin timber in there. So there's some really old hemlocks and spruces in there. But it is really a unique place in there and very popular. It's easy, flat, 1 mile. So some of our other trails are a little bit more challenging, as some of them do go up the mountainside. So you do get your pulse pumping there a little bit. So,
and it wouldn't be Pennsylvania if it weren't rocky.
Right. So very few places, which that's the beauty of Rapid Run, is that it is completely flat. But that is about it. Anywhere else you go, you're going to be going up or down a hill.
Yes. Well, you have a learning center here as well. What type of programming occurs at RB Winter?
We have a lot of programming, whether it's the flora or fauna of the forest. Just Rebecca does a great job talking about all the different animals that are within the forest, plant species, even migratory birds, and then just a wide variety of stuff. Could be getting into geology one week, could be talking about hummingbirds the next. We have some wonderful vernal pools in the park that are a great source for education with all the tadpoles and frogs and salamanders, what have you. So,
well, I understand last week there were some students here and they discovered some frog egg masses in one of those vernal pools, and they were super excited about it.
The beauty part with the visitors that come to RB Winter is that we have a lot of schools that bring their students here. And so we have thousands of students come here and they learn a lot. And I've talked to them later, or like I've talked to adults who went through that same program, and it really is a lasting impression on them to be here to learn the curricula and everything. So it really does give lasting memories.
Truly. And those can be transformative memories.
Absolutely.
I believe I saw a trailhead for mountain biking.
Yes. So I tell people that mountain biking here is great, but it's not for the faint of heart. Like we talked about rockiness, we got rocks out there. So we do have a mountain bike club that comes here often and rides, and they're awesome group. Mountain biking here is great, but it's not for the beginner. But what we do also have is gravel roads. And so the newest thing right now is gravel bike riding. So, and it is basically like a cross between a road bike and a mountain bike. And the state forest provides well manicured maintained roads that are gravel, and you can do miles and miles and miles on these bikes, and people are loving it. So,
and I would imagine with reservable state forest campsites that you could bike tour on those gravel roads too, as a gravel biker.
You can. So we have people who will take several days and do several loops around in different areas. So, and then we also have adventure motorcyclists that come here, and that is huge, taking off. And so we are on the map for that. And so we're definitely seeing many folks coming in on motorcycles that are touring and doing the gravel roads. So,
is that the BDR, the Backroads Discovery Route, I believe?
It is, yes. Give them a little plug. So
Yes. It's an interesting way to see it. We had somebody camping last weekend who was doing the BDR and was super excited to be here. If a visitor is coming for the day, what would you advise them to maybe have with them, or how do you prepare? Because one thing that when I think about when I come here is it's always just a little bit colder at RB Winter State Park than wherever I'm coming from.
You definitely want to prepare well, because we can be, and typically are, 5 to 10 degrees colder than wherever you're coming from. So you definitely want to have layers on. You want to just be prepared for sun or rain. So sunscreen or a waterproof gear, water, bug repellent, tick repellent. So, you definitely want to be safe and be ready for what is going to be here. So in the summertime, we do have a concessionaire that provides food and beverages, but, for the most part is you should have food, snacks packed with you as well. So,
and for the concessionaire, it is cash only. So,
well, they actually just started. They do have a credit card now.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So, and I think the first day that they set up, a lot of credit cards were used. So
I bet. And I think another important thing for visitors to remember is that this is a more remote park, which means that your cell phone may not be active.
Right. Forget it. It's not going to work. And so, especially if you have one of those apps that have maps on it, forget it probably will not work. So stop at the park office, grab a map that is appropriate for what you're looking to do, and know how to use the map, read the map, because it's going to be very important that you know where you're going, because we have had many search and rescues for people who just were not prepared and didn't know how to read the map and got lost.
Yeah, and some of the trails are a bit longer, including the Midstate Trail, which passes through the park.
Right. So you have a trail that is 250 plus miles. Right. So you have to appreciate the fact that you are in the middle of nowhere. And we had folks last week that just took a wrong turn. And luckily we were able to find them very quickly. But yeah, it's just one of those things you have to be aware of, but also the fact that, but don't let that scare you, because we have several trails within the park that are very confined, and like the Rapid Run Nature Trail. So almost impossible to get lost on that trail.
Oh, don't put that out there. And it's a very kid-friendly park.
This park really is. It's very family-oriented. It is not the weekend warriors that are looking to have party all weekend. It is the folks who just really want to come here, have an appreciation. The park is loved, but not overloved. And it really is like a really nice area and is very kid-friendly and just a great place to come and visit and hang out.
Well, if somebody's doing their Pennsylvania State Park and State Forest passport, they can get not only the RB Winter State Park sticker or stamp, there are also several other parks that are part of your complex. Can we talk a little bit about those?
Sure. So we are a complex. So we have 4 parks total. So aside from RB Winter, we have Sand Bridge State Park, which is east of here by 4 miles. It is the smallest Pennsylvania state park at 3 acres. that is surrounded by bald eagle forest on two sides. And that's just a really neat small park, has two pavilions, a restroom, trout stream that goes through it. So it is just very neat little park and not much going on. So it's very quiet.
Great place for a picnic.
Yes. Yep. And so it's just very nice. If you go 4 miles north of here, you go to McCall Dam State Park. And that is, don't be fooled, there is no dam. So
we were looking for the dam.
you will not find a dam. The dam existed 100 years ago. So, and it was just a timber structure that was a jack dam that they used for logging. And so they would dam up the valley. They would fill that lake full of logs, and then they'd break it. So then all the logs would get flooded or get washed downstream, and then they would continue to do that because you didn't have logging trucks. You didn't have a lot of other stuff when those were in effect. So there again, it's just a really neat small picnic area. I think it's 7 acres. Yeah, again, just a little trout stream and just very quiet. And then we have, if you go 10 miles more north, and it is Ravensburg State Park is actually in Tyadotten Forest. And that is just like a neat little 78-acre park that is in the valley of 2 very high ridges. And there's 21 sites, 21-site campground, 2 pavilions, another trout stream. We just love our trout streams here. So, and then just again, picnicking, trailhead for Midstate goes through there as well. So you can actually, so we have a trail that the Midstate goes through RB Winter into Ravensburg and then continues north. So
how do the campgrounds differ between RB Winter and Ravensburg, other than size? I mean, one's a little bit larger.
Ravensburg is tent only because it is a much smaller campground, and you would not be able to get a larger RV even through it. It's just very tight turns. So it is a little bit more rustic. It still has a modern bathroom with showers. It is just a really neat little park as well. So, we definitely have 4 parks that definitely hold places in people's hearts because that's just where they've been going to for, since they were kids.
I've experienced the loudest thunderstorm I've ever camped through here at RB Winter, just echoing in the valley. And there's remnants if you're walking on the nature trail of a storm that did some damage to the park.
This park, I've been here for 14 years now, and it has definitely evolved in a short period of time to be where we had a mature stand of forest, and there was not much understory going on because of the very mature forest. And in 2019, we had a straight line downburst roll through the park and just took out hundreds and hundreds of trees and really kind of devastated whole areas. And it was a monumental task to even get the park back open. And those remnants are going to be here for years to come. We lost the pavilion. Luckily, nobody got hurt. So, but the interesting thing there is that it did open up large areas. So now we do have open areas, and we'd have birds coming in that really weren't here before. So we're seeing some more diversity. It does open a door to invasive plants. So we now have to deal with that a little bit more. And then 3 years ago, we had a bout with gypsy moth, which are now spongy moth, and that took out hundreds of oaks within the park as well. So we have definitely, this park has had a rough couple years, but it bounces back and it will be fine. And it definitely adds a little bit of diversity to the park.
Yes, that those breaks in the habitat and having different successions of the habitat of the forests are very good for different wildlife species. You mentioned you lost a pavilion. Are you referencing the keystone-shaped pavilion?
Let me rephrase that. We lost 2 pavilions then.
Okay.
Yes. So we lost a larger pavilion 3 that was across from the park office, and that held like 65 people. And then we also lost the Keystone Pavilion, was just outside of the campground. And that was just like a one table, tiny pavilion. But the CCC base, the walls are still all there, and the fireplace. So, and that is, it's in the shape of Keystone. So
yeah, pretty neat space.
It is.
Now you have a friends group here, the Friends of RB Winter State Park, and you have other volunteers. So what is a role of a volunteer at the park or in the park complex?
Volunteers help us out immensely. They help us with things that our park employees cannot get to, or just don't have the time, or we're just not able to get to everything. So it really is great to have people that come here that want to give back, not just take from. So people spend a lot of time and energy and come and help volunteer. And that could be anything from litter pickups to building benches and helping on with our school groups that lead some classes around the park on Rapid Run, and just a wide variety of stuff.
And you have several large events that happen, a winter festival. And can we talk a little bit about those types of events? Because if people aren't familiar with a place, attending an event is sometimes a great way to get introduced to it.
Sure. We have our Snow Fest. We're thinking of changing it to RB Winter Fest because we don't always have snow in the winter time. So that has really kind of evolved, but we have our Snow Fest is very popular. We have about 1,000 people that come out to it every year. So we have a 3.5 mile run that benefits the park, and kind of not a grueling course, but it's a nice run. Then we also have some different EE programs, environmental education programs. We have different organizations come from the local area, like the Soil Conservation District, Audubon, Trouts Unlimited. Smokey Bear usually shows up, which is always great. And we do also have a silent auction that we get donations from local businesses, and we have an auction, and all the proceeds from that stay within the park. And that's what the Friends of RB Winter use to make the improvements in the park that, we just really can't get to. So
awesome.
We also have Summerfest, which is a bunch of probably more environmental education programming, and have a chance to do kayaking. And again, there's just a wide variety of stuff there that honestly, I kind of forget what they all are because Rebecca's been working diligently on that. I just haven't had a chance to really see what she's been up to, but it's always well received. We try to have a presentation, Birds of Prey or a rehab center will come out with the different animals that they have. So Summerfest is always very neat. And then we have the Dam Half Marathon. And it is one of the most grueling half marathons I've ever run. And I tell people is like, whatever your best time is, double or triple that time. And that's what this is going to be. So don't think you're going to get a personal best record, because it's not going to happen here. So
grueling.
4,000 feet of elevation.
Oh, that is grueling.
Yeah.
Rocky elevation.
Yes.
So really something for everyone.
Yes.
Yes. And I think it's important to remind our listeners that you do not have to be a camper at RB Winter to participate in the education programs, to attend any of the events. They're open to the public.
Right. And we definitely have people that come to the park to come to the beach, and they have no idea that there's a campground. So we definitely have like 2 different populations within the park, and we have our picnickers, the day use folks, and then you have the campground, the overnight folks. But everybody plays well together and enjoys the park.
Nice. What do you think one of the hidden gems are at the park that you'd like to share with the listeners?
Hidden gems. We have a bunch of cool different features. The folklore is of the Little Bubbler. So the Little Bubbler is a little artesian spring that is in the day use area, just not far from the beach. And it is just this kind of spring that comes up out of the ground, and it does kind of look like it's boiling, or bubbling. And folklore is that, people would put their watermelons in there because it is coming out of the ground at like 39 degrees, I think. So it is slightly colder than the lake, but that's definitely one of the hidden gems. I would say just the trails, like they are really neat, and you can really get a feel of being in the middle of nowhere, yet you do have this safety net of being within the park, and you're able to get away without being far away. Some say that the best thing about this park is that there is no cell signal. So, if you need to disconnect from the world, from the electronic world, you can do that here. So that is a neat feature that probably will change at some point, but not in the immediate future.
Yeah. I think one of your other gems is right here at your office is you have the hummingbird feeders up, and just sitting there and watching all the hummingbirds come in.
That is really one of the most amazing things that I've seen within this park, because like in other places I've had hummingbird feeders, and you'd see one or two, and like we have, for whatever reason, I guess we just do have the best habitat for them. And we have been very diligent for probably the last 25, 35 years of keeping the feeders full and clean. And so at your home, you could have a situation where the birds become dominant or territorial, and they don't let other birds feed there. Our birds tend to play nice. They know it's there. This year they came in, we had a bet going. So I was betting on August or April 27th. They actually came in April 25th. So, and the years past, if we didn't have the feeder up, they will fly right where that feeder is and kind of look in the window, like letting us know that, hey,
slacker.
Yeah, get that feeder up. So, but it is really neat because then actually, just today I was talking to people and they're like, yeah, last year there were a lot of birds. Like you couldn't count them all. It's like, well, you got to wait till the babies come and fledge, and then they increase their population 8 times. So
amazing. And how long are they here? When do you see them starting to head south?
So the males kind of take off first. So probably by the end of August, most of the males are gone. And then it's the females and juveniles that are left, because a juvenile male doesn't develop the ruby throat until I think they're almost a year old by then. So you see what you think is a lot of females, but what you're seeing are females, adults, and juveniles. So, and then probably through September, numbers really start to taper off, and probably by October, we're done with just a couple stragglers. But I think then too, we do keep our feeders up longer because we do have the traveling birds that are flying from the north down south. And so they will hang out here for a couple of days and kind of replenish and then continue on. So
it's amazing to think about something so tiny making that arduous journey.
It really is. It's, when you think of like hummingbirds and their migratory paths, or monarchs, and like when you really start to look into what is really going on with these creatures, it's truly amazing.
Yeah. And you do have such diversity we've seen butterflies. Your bird diversity is so great in the area. So it's a great place for bird watching, wildlife watching. I would imagine mushrooming in the fall.
We definitely have a number of mushrooms, and the ravens were cracking me up yesterday because we have a healthy population of ravens, and I've been watching one of their nests, and they're very active and very noisy birds. So
even their flight is noisy. One took off when I was walking past and it was like,
I'll be walking along and all of a sudden you hear, you don't even know, I don't know what this is, the sound. And it's their wings flapping above you. And you're just like, yeah, wow.
Yeah,
that
loud.
was neat.
Loud bird.
Right. Which then gets into some of our EE programming where you take wings of hawks and daytime birds versus owls. And you find that owl flight is pretty quiet or non-existent noise-wise because they need that surprise at nighttime. So
yeah, to get dinner.
Yep.
Or breakfast. I'm not sure how they what they consider it. To get a meal, how about that?
Sure.
What are some of the challenges you face in managing, your parks in your complex?
Every day there's a challenge or opportunities. I think weather-wise, it just, getting used to the changing of seasons, and then you get into the season and it's not there yet. Like apparently nobody told Mother Nature that it's like spring, summertime because it's been freezing. It's been cold, it's been rainy. So you feel for the visitors that come in and they want to enjoy the park. And it's tough because it is really rainy and cold and wet, but it's still beautiful. I mean, taking a hike in this park in the rain is one of the most beautiful things I've done here.
And I don't see it stopping anybody. I mean, people have been out, they've been going to the beach, the chilly weather, the rain. They're just, they're flexible.
Right.
They know that's just the quirk of nature.
And I think that it really details the type of visitors that we get here because they are true nature lovers. They are here for the environment and they know what it's going to bring. And it's not always perfect, but they are here and they're going to enjoy it regardless of what's going on. So,
and sometimes I think a good rainstorm is a signal to maybe just take a break for a little bit. Maybe read a book.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
maybe take a nap.
Taking naps, reading books, doing a crossword or puzzle or whatever.
Having a conversation with the people you're traveling with. So if you could leave our listeners with one reason to visit RB Winter State Park, what would that reason be?
I would say that just be careful because this might become your favorite park and you might then have to admit that your favorite park currently is going to have to be runner up or at least tied for the first one. So it really just is a beautiful place and it is a best kept secret. And I just think that you should definitely come check it out because people do truly love it.
That's a great note to end on. They do. They absolutely, truly love it. So if you're inspired to visit RB Winter State Park or get involved with a friends group, we will have links in the show notes to the park's website, to the friends website, and any links that will help provide you with additional information to explore this wonderful park, and as well as McCall's Dam, Sandbridge, and Ravensburg. So thank you, Mike, for joining us and sharing the information about the parks, and hope to see you around soon.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Think Outside, where every episode invites you to discover new places, build confidence, and find inspiration in nature. Love the show? Subscribe for more inspiration, share with a fellow explorer, and let's keep thinking outside together. For more resources and inspiration, visit thinkoutside.podcast.org.